Welcome to my home.
You mean my home?
Okay, it's neither of our homes.
But it is our podcast.
Glitter and gay.
Coming your way.
So thanks for tuning in today. The reason I feel... I'm back. The reason I feel good about that clap is because I know you like a man with some gusto.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this episode, we're going in on apps. And we're going a little deeper on Glennda's love life. Now, while I was very curious about your past relationships, because I don't have a ton of relationship experience, so I didn't really feel like I had as much to offer to that conversation, but I was just trying to like absorb what you had to say. This episode,
You've got some pointers for me.
I've got some experience. I've got... I'll give you a little bit of my background.
Please do.
I'll tell you a little bit of my dating app resume.
Okay.
So the gays are really ahead of the curve on dating apps specifically. So once upon a time, when I first got to the city, there were hookup sites, not like dating sites. You strictly went on there, but it was like socially acceptable. And the two really popular ones when I moved to New York were Manhunt, and that's what it was called, and Adam for Adam. And you just log in, put in your zip code, and it would populate everybody who was logged in at the same time. Everybody had like a little profile. You had like a few normal pictures, and then you had locked pictures that were like nudes. And then you would, this is a true story, and you would, if somebody asked you to unlock, you would unlock. So you didn't have to unlock, it was an option. So me not feeling body positive at the time and not really loving the way that I looked, every single picture was just zoomed in of my face. and it was always my face. And I will say, even at my heaviest, you could tell I might be like a little bit chubby, but I never carried like extreme weight in my face, which was a blessing and a curse. In pictures, it worked for me, but in real life, it was kind of like there was an uneven distribution. And so I used to find myself on dates with people who felt a little tricked, who felt like, and I didn't have any of the private pictures. And people would say on these websites, they would message me and they're like, why don't you have any like shirtless pictures? And they would just ask me, and I would always make up a story. I was like, well, I'm auditioning to be at a Broadway show. And, I just don't want it to get out of, a body shot of me on the internet, and you have to keep in mind, I guess this was probably like 2005, 2006. And then I remember one time I went on, there was also gay.com, which was more of it, and not necessarily, it was a little more dating. It was still a little hookup-y, but this was before Grindr. And on gay.com, I started going on dates and like meeting up with guys. And the story that sticks out in my head the most is there was a guy, his name is Michael, and we had great rapport. We'd even spoken on the phone. I thought he was really cute. And for some reason in my head, I was like, I know that he doesn't know what I actually look like. He just has like these pictures of my face and hasn't asked for anything else. And if somebody didn't ask for anything else, I was like, they're a good person. They don't care about my body. They don't care. And so that I was really convinced based off of our phone calls and how well we got along that he was not going to care. I was like, and I always had like this burning thing inside of me of like, oh God, they're going to see me and this is not going to go well. So Michael comes over, so sweet. We get on the subway. We go to Hell's Kitchen. I was living on Roosevelt Island at the time. We go to Hell's Kitchen, and I just think it's going great. We're getting along well. And we go to this Thai restaurant, Yum Yum Bangkok. If any of my Hell's Kitchen people know what I'm talking about, because it's still there. And now it's like 7 restaurants in a row, all named Yum Yum Bangkok. They just took over each little storefront instead of like breaking down walls. So we go in. And we order, and he's like, I just need to make a quick phone call real quick. And I was like, okay, great. And I am just like giddy. And one of my best friends, Jeffrey, is like texting me. He knows I'm going on this date. And I am like, it's going really well. I think he really likes me. We just ordered. And he's like, I'm so happy for you. Text me. Let me know how everything goes. So anyway, I'm sitting there for a while. And the food comes. And he's still not back. And at this point, it's been like 15 minutes. And I promise you, I was so smitten and just thought it was going well that I did not even think twice about the fact that he was missing until the server came over and she was like, do you want to check on your friend? And I think he's outside. And she was like, well, he's been gone for a little bit. Do you want to go check on him? And I could sense the concern in her. And it was only when she said that I was like, huh. And I was like, I felt this pit in my stomach. I was like, I'm an idiot. I was like, I'm an
Oh my
idiot. He's
God.
gone. I walked outside, nowhere to be seen, long gone. And in my head, firstly, I also don't have any money. I can't afford both dinners. And everything is just like piling it on me at once. And I go inside and I sit down and I call Jeffrey and I tell him what just happened. And he's like, girl, he's like, I'm a block away. He's like, I'll come over. I'll eat his meal. And he's like, and nobody will ever know the difference. And he came over. I mean, and that's like where you need some of those like good core friends to
yeah.
like take good care of you, right? But I mean, that story haunted me I had such a fear around internet dating until I switched my mindset around it. Because I think there's a lot of negativity around internet dating.
Oh, I'm a 55-year-old woman, divorced 3 times. Trust me, there is negativity around online dating.
There sure is. I feel like so I first dealt with a lot of people who were pretty negative about it. They're like, everybody sucks. It's a bunch of people who aren't actually serious about dating. They just want attention. And so I started to really look at it from the social experiment
Yeah.
that a dating app is.
Yeah.
Because it is literally, if you think about a dating app, it is 2 strangers getting together to see if maybe they want to spend the rest of their lives together.
Online dating is the MLS of dating. I mean, it is literally to dating what Zillow is to real estate, period. And this is the thing. Do you want to be an off-market sale or do you want to be exposed to all of the buyers in the market? It's really that simple. Because if you're not putting yourself online, if you're not listing yourself on MLS, you're an off-market sale. Are you going to get the best buyers? Are you going to get the best price? Are you going to get the best terms? No. But when you expose yourself to everybody in the market that is looking, you have unlimited potential to find that one person.
Okay, so we're going to use the real estate analogy. I like this.
Okay, good.
So when you are looking for real estate,
Right.
true or false, do you only look at the pictures before saying, I would like to see this home? Or do you look at the floor plan, read the description, check the stats?
So this is
How
such
big's the lot?
this is such a great question
Okay.
because I did a TikTok on don't kid yourself if you're a seller. People are making decisions on who to date based on the primary photo.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make sure as a seller that the best photo of your home is the primary photo.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a special feature, it needs to be in photos 1 through 5. Same thing as dating. Because people are automatically drawn in by the aesthetic of the primary photo. I look at the primary photo. If it is not visually appealing to me, if it is not my type, I don't need to read the description. I don't need to read the size of the lot because it doesn't matter to me, those things, if that's not what I'm looking for.
So I fully agree with that. The only thing that I struggle with in online dating was that, without saying any of their names, because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings,
That's right.
before Stamatis, some people that I really enjoyed dating were people that I met out in the wild
Yeah.
who maybe I met them at a bar, maybe I met them out and about, maybe I met them through a friend. And at first, did not find them, they weren't my type. I could say
Right.
they were cute, but that's like, they weren't my thing. And then they're hysterical, right? And if somebody can like make me belly laugh, like all of a sudden, everything else stops to matter, right? Because I'm just like, oh my
Wow.
goodness. Like, I was like, this person just has me like falling over laughing constantly, makes me feel great, makes me, and I can't tell that from your dating app picture. And so there was always kind of like this fear whenever I'm swiping through on Hinge or Tinder or whatever I was on, that I always felt guilty because I was like, they're cute. I was like, they're not my type per se. I was like, but I've really enjoyed a lot of people who weren't my type. And so there was always kind of like this inner guilt that I
Right.
felt of like, what if they're awesome? What if
Right.
they got everything except, I don't know, I actually don't really have a specific type. I was like, they're this, what I like that. I'm like, height is not on my radar.
It's on mine.
I know it's on yours. You've told me about it.
I'm 5'8". I wear heels every day. The only time I wear flats are when I'm playing tennis or it's pouring down rain. So my rain boots are my tennis shoes. And it wouldn't matter to me if it was Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is 5'6" on his best day with his platform lifts in. I'm never going out with Tom Cruise. Ever. 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 The good news for you is
Is that Tom Cruise is gay?
no,
No.
no, but if he's not 6 feet, he's not my soulmate. I'm going to pass him to you. Maybe he's yours.
So so even in the gay world,
I'm going to spare him.
you have been.
It's
They
the
have been
truth.
spared. They've been
They've been
spared.
spared.
Yeah. So height is not something that's like on my radar. Race is certainly not on my radar. Age is a little on my radar. Age was important to me. Is age important to you?
Well, I would say no because I never even look at the age.
Interesting. So age for me, especially after I got out of when I was in my 20s, I cared a lot less about age. I was like, oh, it's like you could be 20s, 30s, 40s and be fine. And I actually even was fine with somebody in their 50s. The only issue that I started, because I'm such like a future tripper, that I was like, well, what if you're the one and you're 55 and I'm 25? I was like, and then when I'm 45, that means you're 75. And then, when I'm 60, you're 90. If I'm lucky, you're still here,
Right.
and I've still got like, and I just started, and that was why the age gap, I was like, no, I was like, if I fall in love, I was like, it was almost like a fear of loss of like, I was like, I can't have you dying too soon. Like,
Age is not really a thing for me. It was interesting though to me because I think that I had like 40 to 60
mm-hmm.
and there was this guy that popped up and he was 47 and he said to me, he's like, oh, does it bother you that I'm 8 years younger than you? And I said, to be honest with you, I didn't even look how old you were. I figured if you popped up, you were somewhere in the range. Didn't even notice. But what I got to thinking about was that his range, since he was 47, was probably 35 to 55. So it wasn't that I was 8 years older than him. It was probably that I was 20 years older than his range.
Right.
And so then I started thinking about age. But ultimately, to me, the age is irrelevant because I think that I told you about Bill, and Bill was 15 years older than me. He's 70, and he's in amazing shape. He is as handsome as can be. He plays golf all the time. He's very lively. And I went out with somebody who was 60, and I felt like he had one foot in the grave.
Right.
So for me at this age, it's much more like, what is your what is your health age?
Right.
No,
that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
The other thing, I also just feel like there's a stereotype around women dating younger men that's completely unfair. It's such like a double standard. And I remember watching an interview that Tracy Tudor did. And, Tracy Tudor's about as hot as they come.
Yeah.
And she's got her boyfriend, they've been together for a while now, is also about as hot as they come. He's much younger. I don't know what the age difference
Yeah.
is. And but I remember she got called out for it in an interview, and she was like, "Nobody ever calls out a guy who's got a hot young girlfriend." And
Seriously.
she's like, "I've got a hot young boyfriend. Go
Yeah.
fuck yourself."
Exactly.
And
yeah, I
yeah,
don't have any insecurity about somebody being younger than me.
right. You shouldn't.
That was not what was on my what came into my head with that one particular guy. But again, to me,
Okay, so we'll talk about your dating app. What
okay.
dating apps are you on?
So I have Hinge, Bumble, and Match.
Okay.
My Match profile is hidden because just a lot. It's literally like Zillow leads. Like they're looking at their vision board. Like they're top of the funnel leads.
Right.
They're clicking on everybody.
Yeah.
And so that becomes more like a job. So I
Yeah.
just hid it on there. And then there's Bumble, and I actually have it incognito on Bumble because I find that, again, you've got those top of the funnel leads. Now, Hinge,
So on both of those where you're hidden or incognito, are you allowed to send messages? Are you allowed to initiate, but people just can't see you? Is that what
on
it is?
Match, you can't send any messages or like anybody or do anything.
So you're not actually on Match then.
Well, but my profile, I think, is the best on Match, actually, because they give you the most characters.
Oh, they do. Oh,
They give you
okay.
the most characters. Bumble gives you a little bit, and then Hinge gives you a few.
All right.
But I think that the profile is most complete on Match. But I have like 5 or 6 pictures.
So my experience,
Yes.
and I do think that the quality of the lead
Yeah.
is changes from app to app.
Yep.
Hinge is always the best lead source, in
Absolutely.
my opinion. I feel like
Bottom of the
Hinge,
funnel leads.
yeah, I like the questions that they ask.
Absolutely.
Because I don't know about you, but I always felt like when I was writing the About Me section, I was like, well, I got to be a little bit funny and I've got to tell them who I am, but I want to seem cool and I want to be this. And so it just like, I would overthink it. And I remember I would go back and read it I would like, be like, this is the one, and I'd post it. And the next day I'd wake up and read it and be like, what the hell was that? Oh my God. I was like, I did not just say that. On OkCupid, which is like not a thing anymore, I don't think, but on OkCupid, my screen name was Husband Shopping. And I thought that was so funny. And I used to get like some people like, husband shopping? I'm not looking for anything that serious. And I was like, do I seem serious by saying husband shopping?
Well, I have my name,
Okay.
which maybe so I got a message from somebody, and they, because my name is Glennda. It's not like
Yeah.
it's Susie,
Right.
so it was easy to find me. And I said, well, how did you find me? And he's like, well, Glennda, real estate agent, Marietta. It was pretty easy. And I'm like, oh,
And it's Glennda with 2 N's.
right, exactly. But even if you spell it wrong, I still come up.
Right.
So I was like, oh, wow, I didn't really think through that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this whole layer of complexity with these videos.
Right.
Because if you Google me, there's this whole thing. So it's definitely a lot different than I had expected it to be.
Okay, so I actually want to go in a little bit deeper on that. So when I first started doing videos,
Yes.
I was very active on all the dating apps.
Oh, wow.
And so I was having like a lot of interactions with people. And then I felt like they were falling off after a while. And the story that I told myself, I created like this weird insecurity around like my online videos. I was like, I had chemistry with that person. They went online and found my videos. Now they think I'm larger than life. I'm this persona. I'm too extra for them. And they want somebody who's like cool, calm, and collected. And like, I'm not that cool incognito guy. I'm like that in your face guy.
Right.
And like, that's me. And I would go through these kind of like insecurity cycles with it where I was like, I'm a badass. I've like created this brand and it's why I have what I have and it's why I have the life that I do. And somebody who's going to share in this life, like lucky them, I've created something really special to share with somebody.
Right.
And I've done it in a really unique way. And then sometimes I'll be like, have I blocked love from my life? Like with all these crazy videos that I put out? Or are people watching this and being like, this is only him? Because we talked about this last night. The videos are us with the volume all the way up.
Right.
You know, when we're at dinner and we're just hanging out, we laugh.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a down to earth conversation. You
Right.
know, we are normal people. I heard you cussing at your son last night. You know what I mean? Like, I heard both of us like trying to negotiate deals, trying to like help our team out, trying to
Yeah.
do like the real life things that we have to go through every day. And whenever we're doing this, it's us. The volume's all the way up. And so I would always worry that people would see the videos and be like, oh, guy, he's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out of this before I even get in.
Yeah.
And that would perpetuate because I would go on dates and people were like, "Oh, you're so much more down to earth than I thought you'd be."
Oh.
I got that feedback all the time, and it felt good, but it also put some fertilizer on that seed that was growing in the back of my head of, "Oh, do some people think that I'm not going to be relatable? I'm not going to be able to be a person?" And that was probably the hardest part of dating for me. The hardest part of like getting back into it and like living in that world was worrying that people had seen who I was. And even on, you know, once I got cast on $1 Million Listing, I was still in the dating apps. And, you know, and I would still wonder, I was like, are people like, oh, I saw that show? Or have they not seen the show? And they're categorizing me as like that drama table flipping. I was like, watch the show. I'm the sweetheart. I'm the
Everybody
one.
loves me.
I know. I was like,
I'm the nice one.
I know. I was like, I'm the one you want to take home to mom.
Right.
I was like, I'm the good guy. But I think people see like Bravo and just like assume that you've got a touch of the crazy, which I do, but I have like the right touch of crazy.
Right. Exactly.
So are you dealing with that right now? And has that crossed your mind? Have you worried about that? How are you processing it?
Well, so several of the suitors have Googled me.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, people have said, or there has been one person who has said, you know, I'm not down for the Glennda show.
Mm-hmm. My brother said that to me. I haven't had a suitor say it to me, but my brother was like, I don't know how I feel about the Tyler show.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I almost think about the videos with potential suitors the same way as I think about buyers and sellers. You know, that is me, period. So it really is a great advantage because it weeds out the riffraff.
Totally.
So you have there should be no question about, you know, what is she really like? Is this really her? You know, what is her deal? What is she looking for? It's out there. You want to know you want to know my past? You want to know my present? You want to know whatever you want to know? It's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to take a look. If it works for you, that's great. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. I wish you the best on your journey.
And it's nice because you actually don't have to hear that feedback, right? Like they've gathered the information and they've moved on, and you've been spared.
You've been spared. I mean, I had a date with this guy, and it was like we were supposed to meet at like 5 o'clock, I think, for drinks. And you know, he said, you know, I'm just confirming. I'm going to see you today at 5 o'clock, and I'm like, yep, that's great. I've got to show a house at 3:30. No problem. Should give me plenty of time. Don't rush. If you need to be flexible, I can definitely be flexible. And I'm like, okay, great. And the day goes on, and I want to make sure I'm fresh and, you know, look beautiful and cute and everything. And I sent him a text message and I said, hey, could we push it back to 5:30? And he sends me back a message. I have a dinner at 6. Let's do it another night. And I'm like, but I'm thinking to myself, but wait a minute. Weren't you the guy who said I can be flexible and you have a dinner at 6? And I was just like, oh, okay. So unmatch you.
Right.
So again, spared. But again, it all goes back for me to I am very clear on what I am looking for.
Yeah.
Very, very clear. And it's a blessing and a curse.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Tailing off of something you said in an earlier episode we did. Have you written it down?
Absolutely. I've written it down.
Okay. Can we hear the things that you're comfortable sharing? Can you put it out into the universe, what you're looking for?
Well, I
You can
mean,
say no.
no. I
Okay.
mean, I'm 5'8", so I'm definitely, I know this sounds maybe shallow. I want somebody to be 6 foot or taller. I don't want someone who's smaller than me. That's my own reflection of me. That's my own hang up. I went out with this one guy, very handsome guy, 6 feet, but very slender. I mean, quite handsome, nice body, but just very slender. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I might break you.
You're like,
Like I know that sounds bad, doesn't
no,
it?
you're like, I would like for you to be able to throw me.
I mean, I just was like, I
Have you
don't
been to the
know.
Glennda toss?
Like, I don't know what that, I don't know if that's going to work. And so again, I know that the physical part of it sounds shallow, but for me, that's very, I want that see, touch, feel. Okay. But I really want somebody who is excited about life,
Mm-hmm.
who's passionate about life. Pa- no matter what their life is. Are you passionate about your kids? Are you passionate about your business? Are you passionate about your health? Are you passionate about learning every day? Are you passionate about life? And are you passionate about me,
Mm-hmm.
about love, about finding love, about just every single day? Because it's not easy.
No.
Being in a relationship is not easy.
No.
And if you're not like excited about the person every day when you wake up, like I get to spend the rest of my life with this person. I get to spend the rest of my day. I get to wake up next to you. I get to be with you. I want every morning to wake up and say, I get to be with you.
Yeah.
And I want to be excited. I want to be protected. I want to be possessed. I want to be charmed. I want somebody who's confident because, and I think that this is really the kind of the difficulty in a relationship with me is that I'm a badass in my business. Like I run the show, my name's on the door. Like it is Glennda Baker and Associates. Let's make no mistake about that. Like I'm running the show. But at home, that is not me.
Same.
And this was very interesting. One guy said this to me, and I thought this was really interesting. I said, I don't have the need to be in control in my personal life. He said, I believe that. He said, where I think you're having a problem is struggling with the loss of control, giving up the control. He goes, you don't need control. He goes, but I think that you struggle with releasing it.
Do you think he was right?
Um, I think that I don't have a problem releasing control as long as I know that my best interests are what your intentions are.
Yeah. I have issues.
Really?
Yeah, because like I in my relationship, I of course like I love being a boss at work. I love being the rainmaker.
Yeah.
I love being a powerhouse in business and I love my business style. I take a lot of pride in it.
Yeah.
But at home, I I do not want to be the alpha.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean?
Me either.
I like it when Stamatis takes control,
Me too.
and he usually does. The reason he struggles is because while I actually feel like I identified a lot with what this guy said to you, because like I had to train Stamatis how I like my bed made. I have to tell him how I like. I struggle to just let him do
Right.
things for me
Right.
without him telling exactly how I like it, because that's the part of me that's like I've been doing things my way my whole life.
Right.
And so like I'm really struggling to be like, oh, let me see how you do it.
Yeah.
And be like, I think I do like how you make the bed. And
I
I'm
want-
like, I just like how I do it more. Over here, turn it, flip it, and karate chop in the middle. And then we want the tags facing the inside because then nobody can see them except for me. And they look like they're looking at each other, which makes it kind of cute. Don't you understand? It's a fucking bed. But
I want you to do it your way as long as your way is my way.
Do you By the way, when we got here last night and I took you up to your room, I was so excited to show you your room. And the first thing I did was look down at I love my housekeeper, but how she made the bed, and I was like, that's not how the fucking bed is made. I was like, I could not celebrate the bedroom because I was like, I almost tore it apart right then and there. I was like, get outside. I'll tell you when you're welcome back. And you would have had no idea what was going on.
None
But
whatsoever.
that's my crazy.
Yeah.
Before I pineapple this episode, can I take a quick look at your dating profile?
Which one would you like to look at?
I'm most familiar with Hinge because that's
Okay.
where I ended my dating app career.
Okay.
And so I would like to look at your primary photo. I've taken some notes. I want to see how you're doing. So your primary photo.
Okay.
I want to see your Glennda way of answering the questions. I want to see if they're authentic and effortless.
Are you ready for the primary?
Oh, Jesus. Is it you?
Press it.
Okay, wait a second. It's you. Hold on. You get so many messages.
I do.
All right. The primary photo is Glennda. You guys can't see this. The primary photo is Glennda holding a picture of a house she has sold.
Sitting on the countertop.
Sitting on the countertop of that house, I bet, too. Yeah, this is so you never not marketing, that's for sure. And then her holding a mug that says, I try to act nonchalant, but inside, I'm actually chalant as fuck. What- this picture with your gorgeous grandson and a gorgeous smile. You have amazing skin, by the way. Do you get that comment a lot?
Yeah, it's stem cells and baby oil.
And vagina cream.
Yeah. Don't tell them that.
I'm telling them, if you want to know what her real skin secret is, she puts vagina cream on her face. Only the true fans know that because that was stolen from a post from the Porsche.
That's right.
All right. All right. My love language is personal touch and words of affirmation. Words of affirmation is definitely mine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you need to tell me I'm awesome every day.
Yeah, I mean, I want that sweet talk.
I'm looking for protective and possessive in equal measure, last but certainly not least, and possibly most important, passionate about life and love. A lot of the things, all right, you're nothing if not consistent. And a random fact I love is 46% of professional athletes are left-handed.
Yeah.
No wonder. No wonder that's how you end up dating all of them. You're like, only 11% of the population has it. 100% of my relationships have it.
2 of them were right-handed.
2 of them. All right, so
Not anyone that I married, of course, though.
of course not.
But 2 of the contenders.
And I love that that's like you lightly dropping that. That seems to work well for me.
Right.
All right, it's time to pineapple.
Yeah.
So we're gonna finish with a voicemail.
Where's our voicemail? What is it going to be about?
Hi, Tyler and Glennda. It's Melissa Urban from Whole30. I can't wait to listen to your new podcast, and I had a question that I would love for you to answer for all of my Whole30ers and sober, curious community members. You are both high achievers in a business where socializing is the norm, and alcohol is like almost always part of the equation. So for people who are in sales or business or entertainment or other industries where it feels like you have to drink, how do you two navigate saying no if you're sober or just not drinking right now? I can't wait to hear your answers, and I hope they involve the word boundaries. Bye.
Okay, so I'm like Melissa Urban's biggest fan. I've been fangirling over her forever. She happens to be a big $1 Million Listing fan, and some of like the behind the scenes things that happened, she found out through Chipotle that I was a big Whole30er. They connected us, and she's such an inspiration to me. I love that woman, and Whole30 has been an important part of my life. It's one of the ways you and I connected.
Right.
So really cool that she left us a voicemail. If you guys I just have to plug, you should go follow her on social media.
Oh, yeah,
Her
absolutely.
her Instagram is just full of great advice. Um,
We should do Whole30 together.
I am open to it. I will tell you lately, we'll go into this in a different episode. I love Whole30. It changed my life. It changed my relationship with food. I'm trying to live. You know what I mean? I'm trying to.
No, I totally get that, but I really think that that program is the healthiest.
Oh yeah. You're just eating all natural food.
Yeah.
It's not like take this pill,
Mm-mm.
count your calories. It's
No.
like just I basically say it's like you're eating Mother Nature. You
Ye-
know what I mean?
You are, and it does more for your joints
Mm-hmm.
than anything. Oh my
Yeah.
God. When I do it, my joints are just like they do the happy dance.
Yeah. All right. So we both kind of alluded to this.
Right.
Neither of us drink.
No.
I actually think this is this is something I struggled with. Have you been in a situation in dating? We'll talk about business in a second, but have you been in the situation in dating where somebody's like, we should meet up and go get a drink?
Yeah.
Of course, because
Yeah.
that's what everybody says.
Right.
At what point have you disclosed that you don't drink? How do you disclose it? And what have the reactions been?
So I always disclose that I don't drink up front.
Like on the app before you meet?
Yeah, on the app it says never.
Mm-hmm.
And if they ask me why is that, am I in recovery, like what led to that, I'm very honest about that because that's my truth. And I don't have a fear of relapse. I don't have a fear um if that's an issue for you, again, it weeds out the riffraff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that people avoid the truth because they're afraid they won't be chosen.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already lived through that whole nobody chose me to play on their team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living in my truth. And if you don't want to choose me, I'm all good with that. You go do you. I'm going to do me. I wish you the best of luck on your journey. No harm, no foul. And that's just where I am in my life. So for me, it is a hard boundary. There's nothing that makes me drink. There's no uncomfortable moment with Mr. Date that is like, oh yeah, I probably should just pretend like I drink wine.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't. I don't drink. I don't care if you drink, you do whatever. In fact, I almost prefer it if they do drink while we're out because it gives me a very clear measuring stick on how well they drink.
Right. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Dating somebody sober was not important to me.
No.
But I was like, I'm gonna watch how you drink, you know,
Right.
because like I at the same time I was like, only because I don't drink, I don't want to sit around with somebody who drinks all night,
Right.
and that's like their nightly habit, and
Right.
they get a little sloppy and go to bed. I'm
Right.
like, that's gonna get old real quick.
Right. And I just know that that's not my match.
Right.
Like I'm not the rose colored glasses aren't so foggy that I think that I could get past that. I know that if someone has an issue with their drinking or if that's a regular for them, that's not my love connection.
Well, I think being a real estate agent makes it almost like normalizes being an alcoholic.
Absolutely.
It
100%.
normalizes nightly drinking,
Yep.
going out, like, and that was I had no awareness until I was trying to quit drinking how bad of a problem I had.
Absolutely.
But I was drinking at lunch because I was like, I go out to fabulous lunches with my
Yeah.
clients and I have a few glasses of wine.
Yeah.
And then I go to a happy hour and I have drinks with my colleagues. And then I go out to a client dinner and have a lot of drinks and we
Absolutely.
laugh and they think I'm amazing.
Yeah.
And then I go meet up people at a bar afterward. And then I go home and I'm like, well, I'm going to have a couple more, whatever's in my fridge to help me knock out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm having like 12, 13 glasses of wine a day.
Yeah.
Just over like 5 different social things.
Right.
That just makes it all feel so normal.
Right.
And I have
And I'm only going to have 2 glasses because I'm going to have 2 glasses at lunch and I'm going to have two glasses at cocktails and I'm going to have 2 glasses at dinner. And then, of course, I've got to have 2 glasses at the after party. And then I've got to come home and I've got to unwind from being nice to everybody all day. So I've
Whew.
got to have 2 more glasses. So you and I, we were on that same rotation.
Yeah. And then so where I struggled And what I think is interesting about our question is I quit drinking, but still felt the peer pressure to be out at these things and socializing and going. And so, like, how did you, when you were newly not drinking, how did you set that boundary? How did you say, oh, I don't drink anymore? Or I just don't drink? Or what
Yeah.
was that?
I don't drink.
That's mine
And everybody would be like, why? Because it wasn't the best version of me. I was never the best version of myself when I drank, physically, mentally, or emotionally, period. I was never, there was never one moment when I drank that I was the best version of Glennda, ever. It did not matter in what arena, professionally, personally, as a mother, as a wife, as a real estate agent. I was never the best version of myself when alcohol was involved.
I have to tell you a little story. When I first quit drinking, I wasn't sure I was going to make it of not drinking. And so when people would ask, like, do you want to drink? I'd be like, I'm not drinking right now. Or like, I'm just like at like a not drinking phase. And the peer pressure would come on so strong. And when I just changed it to, I don't drink, very few people ask questions.
Yeah.
And in Atomic Habits, he uses the example of like identity-based habits. And he said it's the difference of when somebody says, I'm trying to quit smoking because somebody offered you a cigarette and you say, I'm trying to quit smoking, or you just say, I'm not a smoker. And they walk away. But if you say, I'm trying to quit, they're like, well, here's one if you want one. And one of the great boundary setting things I learned from Melissa was she was like, if you're out and somebody offers you a drink, you can just say, no, thank you. And she goes, if they put a little peer pressure on, she goes, a quick, thank you, but I said no, always shuts them down. And that's the damn truth. And you don't have to explain yourself. I don't drink. No, thank you, but I said no. Works every time.
Every time. Yeah, love it.
Love it.
Episode 6 in the books.
Subscribe, rate, and review, and share it
Today.
right now. Leave a comment.
That's right.
Call me Karen.